If you remember when Mr. Trump first got in, he launched SpaceX and Space Age up there, and he put the biggest satellite up there. Well, it caught all the votes that were pinged up from him and sent back to Earth for Biden. They got all that. They got it all.
What? Where's this information from? They're sending votes to space?
They sent the votes to Italy and Berlin.
For what?
Well, they shot them up there, and then they brought them back as Biden's.
Every time I think I've seen the dumbest person possible, there's another, way dumber. Not even slightly dumber, way, way dumber. Orders of magnitude dumber than the last one I saw. And there's been lots of them.
And all the liberal media is going to tell you, oh, it's guns, 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 we got to ban AR-15s. No, we do not. You know what we have to ban? We have to ban the pharmaceutical companies that are giving these individuals pharmaceutical psychotropic drugs.
So again, you don't want to make sandwiches? There's hundreds of billions of places to hide it.
When 9/11 happened, we didn't ban planes. We secured the cockpit.
Some are so dumb you think they've got to be kidding. But they're not, because you can tell by their general completely psycho demeanor and completely psycho outfits. I mean, everything this person says makes zero sense, is verifiably wrong, and not even close to factual. Remember when Trump first got in, he put up SpaceX? Oh, you mean the private space company that predated him by many, many years? I can't. How these people vote, as the caption on this video says, she never misses an election. If you don't vote with these, not just a handful of dummies out there, millions and millions of total dummies, you don't care about the future. If you can't take a couple hours every couple years to go and combat the sheer amounts of idiocy out there, you're dumber than they are. You're stupider than they are if you allow them to dictate the future. I've spoken with people like this. Not only as a stand-up comedian do they sometimes heckle me during my shows and say the most inane things, and I own them very easily and very quickly, but I recently, and I will release this video at some point soon, infiltrated QAnon in Dallas, Texas, the JFK Jr. sect of QAnon that believed that JFK Jr. is going to be coming back from the dead, or already is back from the dead. They're not sure which one. And he will either become president, or he will help get Trump back in as president, and he will be his vice president. I love they know exactly that somebody will be coming back from the dead, but also, same time, they're not sure what the rest of the plan is. They just know the part that's impossible due to, how science works and how life works and also how death works. But they aren't sure the rest of it. And I got to know, while wearing hidden camera glasses, the rest of the people that were very fervent in their beliefs that included Trump is still president, but actually, no, he's not. Biden is president, but it's not Biden. It's James Woods, who is in makeup as Biden. This is their belief system. But also, they believe that the true president currently is JFK, the original, not Junior. He wasn't killed. He's president. But they support JFK and like him. But that doesn't make sense because they don't like what Biden's doing, which supposedly is being done by their buddy James Woods and also by JFK. Oh, and guess what else they believe? Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, all dead. And when they speak on television, it is CGI. And it's apparently some big conspiracy where all of the news networks are down with this great CGI plan. These are fervent beliefs of these people. They don't say, here's something I heard that I think might be interesting. They believe it as fact. Vote, please.
You're carrying a weapon, a gun there.
Right.
So if you're pro-life, why are you carrying a gun?
We have that freedom in America. I mean, it's important that people recognize that without order, then we're living in chaos. So there has to be order. And there's got to be people that's willing to defend what's right and what's good.
This video does a great job highlighting the contradictions between an anti-choice stance and the same person who holds a pro-gun stance. For him, it all boils down to freedom when you're talking about guns. He alleges this is something that helps maintain order, and we have freedom in this country for him and other people like him to freely carry guns. But when you talk about abortion, it's not so simple. Suddenly, freedom is removed from the equation. He claims to care about fetal tissue and embryos, and those are the most important things in that debate, and that's not really true. You know, a lot of what Roe boiled down to was viability. And when you're talking about a zygote or an embryo, but he equates it with a full human life, and that's just not reasonable. And cutting through that, you can see this isn't really about life at all. It's just about control, and Republicans across the board are now calling for a nationwide abortion ban, and in some red states where trigger laws just went into effect that totally banned abortion, Republican legislators are trying to outlaw people traveling across state lines to practice reproductive care. Not only do they want to ban what you can do with your own body in their state, they want to ban you from going to other states to practice bodily autonomy. And that really shows this is ultimately about control.
What is your opinion on what we can do about the babies that have been killed in schools with gun violence? Do you do anything about that? You're obviously spending a lot of time here and doing this to protect babies' lives. What are you doing, or what do you think can be done, or what can you do to start to prevent that?
I love that question. Increase guns.
And I've talked in other videos about how this really isn't about life, because if it was, they would want to maintain a good quality of life for people. But they have no problem gutting social safety net programs. And beyond that, we live in a unique country in terms of gun violence. The United States leads the rest of the developed world in gun violence, and we've had more mass shootings than days in the United States this year. If you were really worried about lives, wouldn't you want to do something about that problem? You had no issue banning abortions completely. But now all of a sudden, when people are dying from guns because it's your hobby, you think it's your freedom, you don't want to do anything.
What's a scam that's become so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore?
I have an answer. It's the term pro-life. Because we all know how pro-life it is to conduct a violent insurrection of the Capitol. And to the Republicans in Texas, I want to ask you all how this mess helps the quality of life of LGBT people. And yeah, we're all going to be living our best lives with our coasts underwater.
This stems from a misguided interpretation of the Second Amendment. They like to think because that lets people own guns, it gives them free and total reign to do whatever they want, but they conveniently overlook the term well-regulated in the Second Amendment. That never gets mentioned in the discussion. It's always this patriotic freedom and liberty bull, and that has led to some really outrageous gun laws in this country. And that has fueled our uniquely awful gun violence problem. One that, you know, ends lives. Thousands of them every year. But they don't care about life in that equation. I really don't know what to make of this, because pointing out people's hypocrisy isn't really going to change their mind. But what we really need to do is organize and take action, because the right has done a really good job over the past few decades turning these issues like gun rights and an anti-choice agenda into huge galvanizing forces. There are so many single-issue voters just on an anti-choice agenda alone, and the Democrats have been caught flat-footed. Their response since Roe has been overturned has been pathetic. And what we really need to do is codify abortion rights nationwide. People shouldn't have to live in fear that they can't practice bodily autonomy in a red state or be prevented from leaving that state to do so. That is insane. And it flies in the face of this hypocritical freedom and liberty agenda. But we're not going to do anything about that until we get more people in power who will stand with us. And more importantly, not just stand with us with a D after their name, but refuse to govern from a position of fear, as Democrats so often do.